Welcome to this explainer, everyone. We are jumping right in today because we're looking at a truly fascinating tactical shift in World Cup football. We're going to completely deconstruct one of the most intense, edge-of-your-seat semifinals in recent memory. We really want to figure out exactly how Argentina managed to overturn England's hard-fought lead to secure their place in yet another historic final. So we're going to explore the tactical shifts, the specific substitutions that changed literally everything, and the sheer, undeniable champion mentality that completely defined this matchup. Okay, let's dive into this. We have to ask, is a 1-0 lead ever actually enough against this specific Argentine side? Think about it. When you're playing a team that seems to just bend the very fabric of the game to their will, a team that's made an absolute habit of roaring back from deficits in almost every single match, trying to just sit back and protect a tiny margin, it's a fatal mistake. As we'll see through today's analysis, assuming you can just absorb pressure for 45 straight minutes against an orchestra conducted by Lionel Messi isn't just risky. No, it's a wide-open invitation for disaster.
But, to really understand the tactics, we first have to understand the temperature of the pitch. Because this wasn't just another football match. It was the latest chapter in a deeply emotional, fiercely contested rivalry. We're talking about decades of history here. From the 1966 World Cup controversies to the infamous 1986 Hand of God, all the way to Diego Simeone and David Beckham clashing back in 1998. The emotional weight was completely palpable before the referee even blew the whistle. Just picture the national anthems. The English players looked incredibly calm, very under control. But the Argentine players? They were visibly supercharged. Enzo Fernández was literally celebrating at the end of their anthem as if he had already scored a goal. And that immense passion translated directly into a grueling physical battle in the first half. It was a true 50-50 game. Neither goalkeepers was truly tested, but we saw a staggering 19 fouls. 19! That sheer tenacity and vicious ferocity showed that absolutely everyone on that pitch knew exactly what was at stake.
So coming out of that intensely physical first half, England actually took the initiative. They were brave. Let's walk through exactly how they broke the deadlock early in the second half, because it's a great sequence. It all started with a really rare defensive lapse from Argentina. Nicolas Tagliafico misplaced a clearance from a long ball. Then Declan Rice, doing exactly what he does best, immediately recovers the ball and recycles possession. He finds Morgan Rogers, who whips in this beautifully pinpoint cross, and right there, Anthony Gordon is waiting to finish it. Now, if you watch the replays, it might look like a simple tap-in, but actually, scratch that, it was a highly technical, incredibly difficult half volley right off the bounce. It was a brilliant clinical sequence that capitalized perfectly on a momentary Argentine mistake, and boom, England is up 1-0. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in how both managers reacted to that goal. This right here is the absolute tactical turning point of the entire match. Notice the totally distinct approaches. On one hand, we have Lionel Scaloni taking a relentlessly proactive approach. Seeing his team down, he instantly recognizes, hey, we lack width, we're playing way too narrowly. So what does he do? He pulls a central midfielder, Leandro Paredes, and brings on Nico Gonzalez to create dangerous attacking width on the wings alongside Giuliano Simeone. But then, let's look at Thomas Tuchel's reaction. He takes the exact opposite approach. Instead of trying to kill the game and push for a second goal to really bury them, he goes entirely passive. He removes his most dynamic players, Anthony Gordon and Declan Rice, and brings on Ezri Konsa and Dan Burn. He essentially transitioned his entire team into a flat-back six, which basically signaled to the world that England was just going to try and survive the rest of the clock. And this completely passive approach leads us straight into a concept known as tactical Hara-Kiri. It's essentially the act of committing sporting suicide. By taking off Anthony Gordon, Tuchel removed England's explosive attacking pace. Gordon was their outlet, He was the guy making the runs, creating a constant goal threat, and actively keeping that Argentina midfield from pushing too far forward because they had to respect his speed. Without that pace on the counterattack, Argentina suddenly had absolutely nothing to fear defensively. Sure, England still had Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and Morgan Rogers up top, incredible world-class players with massive physicality and technique, but they lacked that raw, explosive sprint down the field speed needed to punish a high defensive line. By parking the bus and removing their only real counterattacking threat, England literally invited a dominant Argentina to just step up and apply relentless, suffocating pressure. Let's move to and see how this builds across the rest of the second half. Following England's goal, Argentina definitely started to push, but England's initial defense held them off fairly well. Then came the hydration break, which really acted as a catalyst for these massive tactical adjustments. Right after the break, we hit that substitution window where Tuchel makes those fateful defensive changes we just talked about. With England now sitting incredibly deep and applying zero pressure to the ball carriers, Enzo Fernández takes full advantage mid-half.
He collects the ball just outside the box, takes his sweet time, and unleashes a sensational, totally unpressed long-range strike for the equalizer. And then, well, the inevitable climax. In the 89th minute, with England looking completely out of ideas and completely out of energy, Lautaro Martínez heads in the late winner to seal the comeback. So what does this all mean on the pitch? How exactly did Argentina exploit this super passive English setup? Well, it all boils down to two things: space and time. Because England dropped so ridiculously deep, Enzo Fernández just wasn't closed down. He had the total luxury to set himself up, pick a spot, and launch that pinpoint strike. Then, consider the second goal. Lionel Messi gets the ball on the right side. Jed Spence comes out but offers this really half-hearted challenge and totally fails to close him down. Guys, you simply cannot give Lionel Messi that kind of time, period. So Messi calmly delivers a brilliant cross with his right foot, and Lautaro Martínez is left completely wide open to score a fantastic header. And honestly, the 2-1 scoreline really flatters England here. All that extra space Argentina had meant Alexis McAllister actually missed two additional massive chances. One open header that smashed the frame of the goal, and another shot that graced the post. This game could have easily ended 3-1 or 4-1 just based on the sheer amount of space England surrendered. And this brilliantly illustrates the core identity of this Argentine squad. One observer put it absolutely perfectly, saying, "They are a zombie. If you want to kill them, you have to cut off the head." That just perfectly captures their elite champion mentality. You cannot just sit on a tiny 1-0 lead against a team that has actual World Cup winning pedigree and simply refuses to die. If you want to beat them, you have to go right for the throat and score 2 or 3 goals. They have the know-how. They have the mental fortitude. When you are passive and you don't take your chances to completely kill the game off, a team with this level of mentality is going to punish you every single time. And lurking behind all of this collective, suffocating pressure is a truly staggering number: 12. That is the total number of goals and assists Lionel Messi has racked up in this tournament alone. I mean, we are honestly running out of adjectives to describe the guy. He has put this team on his shoulders yet again. But, what makes this current Argentine side so absolutely terrifying is that it's not just him anymore. Players like Enzo Fernández and Lautaro Martínez are stepping up in huge ways and scoring incredibly clutch goals when it matters most. Thanks to this collective brilliance, led by Messi's absolute genius, Messi is now heading to a historic third World Cup final, which matches the legendary record set by Brazil's Cafu. It really begs the question, are we literally watching the absolute best version of a 39-year-old Messi right now? All of this sets the stage for what's going to be a truly historic conclusion to the tournament. We are getting the ultimate finalissima directly in a World Cup final. It's the Euro winners, Spain, against the Copa America winners, Argentina. It is such a poetic dream matchup, especially when you think back to that viral photo from 19 years ago, the one, of a young Lionel Messi bathing a baby Lamine Yamal. It's crazy. And now they're going to face each other on the absolute biggest stage in world sports. So what do you think? Will Spain earn their second star, or will Messi cement his legendary legacy by securing Argentina's fourth? It's a clash of generations you definitely won't want to miss. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the tactics behind the beautiful game.